Welcome back for another week of North of the Lake Sports Talk Live. This is season 2, episode 4. Y'all please bear with me, man. I've got some type of bug. They say I got some type of cold or flu going around. I done fell victim to that. So we're going to keep it short and sweet tonight, and we're going to get right into things. Thank y'all for joining in once again. North of the Lake with your boy, Mon Rashawn. This is episode 4 of season 2, and we got a lot to talk about, man. It was an exciting week of football all across the board, from high school to college to the NFL, man. All the scores are at the bottom. This is North of the Lake. Make sure y'all subscribe on YouTube. That's NOTL Mon on YouTube. That's NOTL Mon on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you like, share, and comment on this live. I can have all the comments live on the screen. Thank y'all for tuning in once again. If you'd like to donate to the platform, that's NOTL Podcast. And let's get right into the scores. That's Louisiana High School football week 3. Hammond versus East St. John, 34-7. Hammond gets the big win. Fountain Blue, 16-13 over Peabody. Kentwood gets an impressive win over Sahalina, 22-18. Franklin over Pine. We got Salmon over Bogalusa. Ain't Neat shuts out Independence, 48-0. Live over Ponchatoula, 32-7. Warren Easton shuts out Slidell, 28-0. Mandeville over George Washington Carver, 49-0. The game of the week, Jules Sumner over Laranja, 40-28. Shout out to Sumner Cowboys. East Feliciana over Albany. Covington over Booker T. Washington. St. Paul's gets the win over Daylight South, 21-14. Lakeshore take care of business against North Shore, 41-10. Springfield gets the win over Crescent City. Ascension Catholic gets the win over St. Thomas Aquinas. LSU gets the win over UCLA, 34-17. Southern gets the big win over Prairie View. That's 31-24. Grambling gets the win. Our HBCUs pretty much swept the table. Grambling over Jackson State, 41-20. Tulane got a big win against the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, 41-33. Louisiana Tech loses on the road. We got Southeastern gets shut out 41-0. Matt Neese gets the win. So does Nichols. And our Saints lose a close game today. We're going to get into that a little later. Let me know what y'all think about this week's football. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe, and also comment on this live. I can get everybody on Facebook and on YouTube. I can get your comments on right now. I know a lot of our high school guys are watching on Instagram, but if y'all can, try to find me on Facebook. That's NOTL Podcast on Facebook. Also on YouTube, it's NOTL Mon. So if y'all want to interact with me a little bit more, try to get me on those platforms versus Instagram. Instagram is a little harder to get the comments on the screen. So thank y'all for joining in once again, but we're going to get right into things. Louisiana High School football week. Actually, what week is this, guys? This is week 3, actually. This is week 3 of high school football. Hammond High definitely stuck out this week in Tangible Hope football, man. Shout out to my Hammond High Tornadoes on a very, very impressive win against East St. John. A lot of people was joking around on Facebook about how East St. John and Ryan Perilou beat Hammond High way back in the day. But, shout out to Coach Bogus and the Hammond High Tornadoes for turning things around, man. Shouts out to them. And we're going to get right into things with our players of the week. We got our players of the week, and we got to start out with a guy who I'm very, very familiar with, and that's Kenyatta Fleet. You can see him right here on the goal line. One-handed catch on the goal line over a defender, gets the toe inbounds. Shout out to Kenyatta Fleet. He is our player of the week. And we got more from Kenyatta. He didn't have one, he didn't have 2, but he had 3 touchdowns on the night. And that's one, he going up over the defender, high pointing the ball at his highest point. Shout out to Kenyatta Fleet. He is our athlete of the week, player of the week out of Hammond High School. Look, I'm trying not to be biased, but if any of my high school guys, if you follow me on Instagram, send me your highlights and I will get them out there. But we got another guy to talk about, and that's Jeremiah Brooks out of Laranja. He's been having a fantastic season. I'm sorry, this is actually Sumner. Jeremiah Brooks out of Sumner. Forgive me for that. Sumner has been having a great season, like I said. The game of the week was Laranja versus Sumner, and man, Sumner's putting up points, y'all. Sumner's putting up points, and they looking good. Very impressive win over Laranja. Laranja's thought to be one of the better teams in the parish, right up there with Hammer High and other schools. So shout out to the Sumner Cowboys, man. They are definitely looking good. they are definitely looking good this year. Y'all bear with me. Like I said, I am under the weather, so it's going to be quick tonight. We're going to go and get it out the way. We also have Reginald Donut Monroe from Hammond High School. He also is having a major season right now. Y'all bear with me. Y'all can hear me hearing my voice tonight. We're going to go and get through this. Like I said, I am dealing with a bug, but you see him right here in the flat. Takes a screen to the house. To the house. You can't catch him. He's been looking very good all year. Blazing speed. Takes it down the sideline. We also have another play from Donut. We had an option here. Let's get it back to the beginning. Kind of like a receiver pass option, and he don't see anybody open deep. So guess what he do? He takes it on the ground, and there he is, down the sideline. We want to see more of that from Donut going forward. Like I said, any of our athletes here in Tangipahoa Parish, if you would like to be on the platform, please just send me your highlights. It's NOTL podcast on Instagram. And let's get on to the game of the week. Game of the week. Sumner surpasses LaRondra 40-28. So like I said, once again, shout out to Sumner. They are playing some good football right now, guys. Some real good football. So shout out to Sumner on the road. Shout out to Sumner. Like I said, if you are watching live right now, please bear with me. Like I said, I am getting over a cold, y'all. I am getting over a cold. Your boy over here sweating a little bit. Shout out to everybody that is watching. But so far, we have named our player of the week. Shout out to Kenya the Fleet, Jeremiah Brooks, and my boy Donut. Thank you, Donut, for DMing me on Instagram and send me your highlights. Shout out to them, man. Let's move along to LSU Tigers. I'm not gonna hold y'all long tonight, just because I am under the weather. But LSU looked very good against UCLA. Like I said, Garrett Nussmeier continues to impress. Garrett Nussmeier, 32 or 44, 352, 3 touchdowns through the air. Garrett Nussmeier still looks good, but it's something that's still off about LSU right now. I'm not sure if it's because of the lack of creativity on offense or if we just not those dudes. I think Brian Kelly has done a decent job at LSU, but the problem really, the problem really lies in just the play calling right now for me. It's the play calling for LSU, and I think LSU has to get that addressed because right now, it just lack of creativity on offense. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Whenever LSU needs that one big play, it seems like they don't deliver. And that's my problem with LSU right now, guys, is just the lack of creativity on offense. The defense is still giving up big plays on the ground, which is not indicative of an LSU defense. And that's concerning. And the reason why it's concerning to me because LSU has more formidable opponents going ahead. Like I said, LSU still has not played Bama. LSU hasn't played Oklahoma, who lost to Tennessee, but in a good game and in a defensive battle. So we're gonna see more from the LSU Tigers going forward, guys. So that's the thing right there with LSU. It just comes down: can LSU hold up to these SEC opponents? And we got to see that going forward. We got to see that going forward, but like I said, Nussmeier is not the issue. LSU right now is a one-dimensional team, pretty much going to throw the ball. Even in the running game, LSU tries to create with the running game through the passing game to get those short outs out there to the running backs and the flat to the receivers. But I want to see LSU create some of those deep shots that we used to seeing from LSU, going back to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas of last year. And that's what LSU has to bring back to this offense is those explosive plays, but you don't see that. And I was actually looking forward to seeing Caden Durham. After that impressive performance he had against South Carolina, I was expecting to see Caden Durham a little bit more, but we didn't see it. But Josh Williams did step up. So did Caleb Jackson as well. So some of those players picked up the slack a little bit for LSU. But we're gonna see what that's like going forward. Biggest takeaway. We're gonna run through these real quick, y'all. Like I said, your boy is a little under the weather. LSU right now, to me, just LSU looks like about the 5th or 6th best team in the SEC right now. If you ask me, about the 5th or 6th. I'm watching Tennessee, I'm watching Georgia, I'm watching Ole Miss. Alabama, even Arkansas is playing a better brand of football than LSU right now. And that's going to be our problem. You know, it's just not adding enough for LSU, you know, especially when I see what's going on around the country. When I see the way Ohio State is playing and Oregon and all these guys, it's just not adding enough for LSU right now. And they still got a lot of football to play. So that's my biggest takeaway. And I just got to put it out there, guys. I think LSU has at least about 2 or 3 more losses. You know, I don't see this LSU team beating Bama. I don't see this LSU team beating Oklahoma or Ole Miss. So you can look for a couple more losses in that column unless LSU makes drastic changes going forward. And just next week's game against South Alabama. Let me tell you why this is a must-win game for LSU. This is a must-win for LSU because South Alabama isn't as bad as you may think. They got a guy named Gio Lopez. Look out for Gio Lopez. Right now in the season, he has 843 yards, 9 touchdowns, no turnovers, no interceptions. He is 9th in QBR, 86.0. And he's a dangerous guy right now because he's not turning the ball over. And that's one of the things LSU has capitalized off in the, you know, in the last couple of games. They have capitalized off of turnovers and mistakes by the other team. And this South Alabama team hasn't made a lot of mistakes. And that's going to be an issue for LSU. And I know what you're saying. It's South Alabama. LSU should beat South Alabama. I know what you're saying, but if you look at what they did so far this season, if you look at what South Alabama has already done so far this season, they lost to North Texas, but they put up 38 points. They lost to Ohio in a close game, 27-20, but then they go out and put 87 against Northwestern State. It is Northwestern State, but they also put up 48 against Appalachian State, which is a D1 program who has upset plenty of teams, as you know, over the last couple of years. So this South Alabama game is going to be a challenge for the LSU Tigers. Excuse me. It truly is going to be a challenge, and we can't take it lightly because you know what LSU did against Nichols. LSU went out there against Nichols and pretty much, you know, Nichols played LSU down to the last minutes. So we got to definitely look out for South Alabama and Gio Lopez because they are coming and they coming to win this game. You know, I think right now teams are not really fearing LSU right now. And that's the problem. You know, teams are bringing it to LSU versus LSU bringing it to other teams. And that's not what LSU fans are used to, from the days of Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. You saw the good game Tyrann Mathieu had with the Saints today. We'll talk about that in a minute. But LSU is not used to this type of football where teams are bringing it to LSU versus LSU bringing it to other teams. So that's going to be something to watch going forward. It's just how LSU adjusts to what's coming, because a lot of these teams see an injured dog right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how teams try to push LSU just in the running game. And that's on both sides of the ball. You know, defense hasn't stopped teams that well on the ground, and the offense hasn't been able to run the ball as well. So it's gonna be something interesting to see with LSU going forward. It's just how they handle the adversity and what these teams are getting ready to throw them, because LSU looks very beatable for the first time in quite some time. You know, Coach O had those down years after the 2019 season, but we haven't seen LSU, I think, on this level, just look so beatable and look so, just soft. I mean, I really hate to use that term. You know, I don't mean no disrespect to the players, but that's just what that's what LSU looks right now. LSU looks soft and they look very, very beatable, man. And that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about, what I see around the rest of the country right now. And that leads me to my top 5 ranking. Right now, these are the top teams in the country for me right now. Number 5, excuse me, y'all. Number 5, we have to start with Tennessee. Tennessee goes out there and take care of business against Oklahoma. I watched the majority of that game, and one of the things I take away from Tennessee is they are playing that style of defense that LSU wants to be able to play. You know, what LSU fans are used to seeing at LSU. and that starts with the defensive line and our defensive backs. And that's what Tennessee looks like on defense. They look like an old school LSU defense right now. And they have a quarterback who's very dynamic, kind of reminds me of Jaden Daniels. Maybe not as shifty, maybe not as fast, but he could put it on the numbers. I mean, I might be going to attempt to pronounce that brother's name, but we all know who he is over there at Tennessee. And it just looks good for Tennessee right now. And then at 4, I got Georgia. Georgia's at 4 right now. A lot of polls have Georgia. A lot of the coaches polls, a lot of the college football playoff polls have Georgia either at 1 or 2. But for me, Georgia hasn't showed enough. That's why I have them below the rest of these teams. And, we all know what Kirby Smart is capable of. So that's why I keep Georgia, in high regard, because you just never know with Kirby Smart and Georgia. They still have fantastic athletes. So you can never rule out a Georgia team. So at number 3, I have Alabama. I have Alabama over Georgia because Alabama has a playmaker at the quarterback position right now. Alabama has probably one of the best players in the country at quarterback right now in Jalen Milroe. That's why I have to put them over Georgia. I haven't seen enough from Georgia, but Alabama has a dynamic freshman receiver right now, and we all know what Jalen Milroe is. He is an athlete at quarterback, and it's going to be hard to stop, especially if Alabama continues to be able to play defense. That's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the major challenge for Alabama. Can they stay consistent, and can they play that defense that Alabama has become accustomed to, especially in the Nick Saban days? I have Ohio State at number 2. Ohio State, for me, has been underachieving probably the last 10 years since they won the national championship in 2015, that Ezekiel Elliott team. But Ohio State has underachieved over the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. And I think it's time. I think it's just due time for Ohio State to prove why, to pretty much show college football what all these recruiting classes have added up to. Because every year Ohio State is like 1 or 2, when it comes in the recruiting class. They have fantastic athletes. I think this is the year that Ohio State puts it together and makes a run in the college football playoff. They have athletes everywhere. They have Junkins at running back. If you play NCAA, you already know about Junkins. Like at one point, he was unstoppable on college. So, they got the running game, they got the quarterback, they got the defense, they got the athletes, they got the receivers. You know about Ohio State already. So that's why I got Ohio State at number 2. They just seem like they have it all together. And at number 1, same as last week, I have the Texas Longhorns. And that's for obvious reasons. Texas, similar to Ohio State, just have athletes everywhere. And what sets Texas apart for me is their quarterback situation. If one of those guys goes down, whether it's Quentin Ewers or Arch Manning, I think Texas can win a national championship with either one of those guys after seeing Arch Manning the last couple of weeks. I truly believe Texas can win a national championship with either quarterback, either the starting quarterback or the backup quarterback. So that's why I have Texas at number 1. They're playing great defense. We all know what Steve Sarkisian can do as far as dialing those plays up. So that's why they are at number 1 for me this week. This is North of the Lake College Football Top 5, man. Thank everybody for tuning in and bearing with me through this cold. Yeah, I'm trying to get up out of here, bro. I'm over here sweating and everything. This something going on in the air right now, but this is my top 5 for the week. Thank y'all for joining in once again. Like I said, thank y'all for putting up with me. I know I'm coughing. I'm trying to get through this live right now. Like I said, something excuse me, is in the air. So I hope y'all didn't catch it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Did y'all catch this little cold bug that's going around? It's been having me down for a couple weeks now, y'all. But now, so let me know. So let me know if y'all have caught that and how did y'all get over it? What did y'all take to get rid of this cold? So it leads me to say who's the best team in the country right now. And obviously I did pick Texas at number 1. And I really believe Texas is the best team in the country right now, just from what I've seen over the last couple of weeks. And I think Alabama and Georgia is close in that, and so is Ohio State. But Ohio State just got to prove it to me. Ohio State got to prove that they can play on that stage with the big dogs. Michigan's not a factor for Ohio State this year, so that's why I'm looking for them to make a big run in the playoffs. Michigan looks you know, pretty average compared to what they did last year. You know, still a good football team. We'll see what happens, you know, when that time comes. But let's move right along so I can get y'all out of here. I know y'all don't want to hear me cough all night, but the Saints lose a tight game to the Eagles. Man, this was a old school early 2000s football game that was played today. I mean, the Saints are going straight old school. Power eye, you know, offset, what, you know, whatever you want to call it. Two receivers, fullback, a running back, two tight ends. Like, when the last time you seen that in football? It was kind of it kind of brought me back to my childhood today a little bit, watching the Saints versus Eagles game. I mean, it was pretty much their front seven versus yours. I mean, it was an old school clash, pretty much, you know. And one of the biggest things that happened in this game was the Saints losing Eric McCoy early on, their starting center. And ever since McCoy went out, the Saints couldn't get anything going. I mean, shout out to Jalen Carter from the Eagles. I mean, anything the Saints had going, he just disrupted it. But like I said, Derek Carr had a decent game today. He didn't throw for a lot, but I thought he made enough plays to be able to win the game in a very tight defensive contest. Derek Carr was 14 to 25, 142 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Alvin Kamara looks like Alvin Kamara of old. He was 26 of 87. We didn't have the Saints didn't have a running touchdown on the ground, but you know, at times the running game was there for the Saints. It was just one of those games where the Eagles defense came to play. All those first rounders they got over there looked like first rounders. And I think this was a good game for the Saints to lose, because it's not like you lost to a team who's not probably playoff bound or, you know, haven't been in the mix in the last couple of years. We all know what Jalen Hurts is. Even though Hurts, man, I tell you, Hurts tried everything to give the Saints this football game today. Hurts definitely has to work on the turnovers. I mean, I know he turned it over twice. He had an interception. I know he had a fumble that was recovered by the Saints, but at the end of the day, the Eagles did do enough to win 15-12 over the New Orleans Saints. I'm still yelling who that, but I am pumping the brakes a little bit on the Saints. And the only reason why I say that is because I want to see what Clint Kubiak can do with this offense. I think today he was tested by a good defensive coordinator. And at times it kind of looked like he was kind of perplexed at times, but there's not much you can do when a team's defensive line is just winning. And like I said, after Eric McCoy went down, you can know it was very noticeable to see that they wasn't winning up front. The Saints O-line was not winning up front, especially up the middle. It really hurt the Saints losing Eric McCoy today. But like I said, this is a lesson for the Saints. This is a game that, you know, I don't feel bad for the Saints losing, because I think the Eagles going to be right in the thick of things when it comes to playoff time and seeding and just the road to the Super Bowl, which leads through New Orleans. So this is I think the Saints will shake back. You know, I think they would definitely shake back next week against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk about that here in a minute. We all know what that game means, but I'm still optimistic about the Saints because, I mean, at the end of the day, your defense held an explosive Eagles team to 15 points today. So it's something positive that you can take out of this. It's not the end of the world for the New Orleans Saints. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If you're just joining me, I am a little under the weather, so I'm going to try to get on up out of here. They say they got some type of cold bug going around, so excuse me. So I'm going to try to get y'all up out of here quick as possible. It's not going to be too long tonight, but the Saints did go down to the Eagles 15-12. A well-fought defensive battle ensued today. And like I said, I like that, man. That was old school football. You know, let's line up. We're going to run the ball. Whoever can win in the trenches was going to win this game, and the Eagles won in the trenches. You know, we've been having questions about the Saints offensive line all season long. Definitely in the preseason, a lot of people was talking about can the Saints O-line hold up, and then Eric McCoy goes down. That's something that the Saints just could not afford to happen. Saquon Barkley looks like the best back in football. It was many times where I felt like the Saints should have had him for a loss on the play. You know, the Saints was getting nice penetration up the middle, you know, clogging up the run. But for whatever reason, Saquon just kept getting out of it. I mean, it was just a a fantastic display on Barkley's behalf, man. I mean, I thought they had him at least 5 or 6 times. It looks like the defense had him, and then he'll make one of those jump cuts and he just gone. You seen that long, like 70-yard run that he had that pretty much it was a turning point in the game, because up until that point, the Saints had pretty much shut the Eagles down. I mean, they couldn't do anything outside of that run and that late score that they had when they hit Dallas Goedert, you know, on that drag route that led them to a touchdown. So, you know, not a bad performance overall by the Saints. I'm not mad at that loss. I think the Eagles are a good team. The Eagles did beat the Packers week 1. I was impressed with them then. You know, even despite the Jalen Hurts turnovers, the Eagles were still able to make this a game. I mean, I thought for sure that this wouldn't, you know, early on, I thought the Saints had control. You know, the turning point in the game is Eric McCoy going down. You know, so who that? It's still who that, but I am pumping the brakes. I might not take out that second mortgage to get those Super Bowl tickets just yet. I gotta see a little bit more for the Saints. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. This is North of the Lake, episode 4, season 2. Like I said, your boy is under the weather, so I'm gonna get y'all out here. I do apologize, but I'm feeling bad, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Y'all let me know if y'all caught that little cold bug. I was in the barbershop and somebody was telling me there's a cold bug going around. So let me know if y'all got that and what y'all took to get rid of it. Biggest takeaway is, you know, now that the Saints have lost this game to the Eagles, it got me wondering a little bit. I see what the Cowboys is doing against the Ravens here. The Cowboys were down like 21-6 at halftime against the Baltimore Ravens last I checked. And we all know what the Panthers are. The Panthers, I mean, I don't even have to check their game score today to know that the Panthers probably lost or are going to lose. They just look abysmal. Even though I think Andy Dalton is a step up above Bryce Young. Y'all know how I feel about Bryce Young. God bless the brother, but just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback on any level. So I'm starting to ask myself, did the Saints really play 2 bad teams and score those 40 points in consecutive games? I'm not trying to go pessimistic here, but it got me thinking, because like I said, the Cowboys looked horrible once again against the Ravens. Lamar Jackson and company is just running the ball all over the Cowboys. I was sitting here watching it until my TV froze up here, but it has me thinking. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Did the Saints play good enough competition for us to start screaming black and gold to the Super Bowl? Y'all know I was one of the main ones saying black and gold to the Super Bowl, so I'll take that. Pause, no diddy. But you know, it definitely has me wondering here. And one of my most important takeaways from this game is, can the Saints O-line rebound without Eric McCoy? I'm not sure what injury he had. I'm not sure how long Eric McCoy would be out, but that's a concern, because immediately once Eric McCoy went out the game, you can see that the Saints offensive line just went down from there. I mean, you saw constant pressure. Derek Carr, God bless Derek Carr, because I think Derek Carr, despite all the pressure that he was getting, he handled it very well up until that last interception on that last drive. But Derek Carr has played good football this year. We can't blame anybody. We can't blame Derek Carr, but I don't think we can blame the offensive coordinator. I think a lot of that up the middle pressure by Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was a man today. I mean, you know, I don't think the Saints are going to see any. I'm not sure if they're going to see a better defensive line than what I saw today. And if so, then I don't know. You know, it's going to be rough if the Saints aren't able to protect Derek Carr. And that's going to be the key to this season. We all saw what the Saints are capable of, but to be able to sustain that's been the question, I think, for a lot of Saints fans. Can the Saints sustain that? And we just got to see. We got to see going forward. Can the Saints sustain what they did starting out in the season? And, you know, next week is going to be very important. Saints versus Falcons. We all know what this game is about. The Atlanta Falcons don't like the Saints. The Saints don't like the Atlanta Falcons. So we all know what this means, you know, being around here in the New Orleans area. We all know we can't stand them dirty birds, but they are coming to town. Right now, they are 1-1 on the season. They actually lost the last game they played was to the Eagles, and they found a way to win that game. I don't know how. You know, The Eagles had that game pretty much won, and they found a way to lose the game. But the Atlanta Falcons are 1-1. Kirk Cousins having a decent season. He has threw for a little over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions thus far. I'm not sure if they played yet today, but the Falcons, one of the strengths of the Falcons right now, they have a great running game. They got Bijan Robinson. He has ran for 165 yards so far. That's one of the strengths of the Falcons. So, the Saints usually, outside of a Saquon Barkley or one of these elite running backs, the Saints usually, handle the run very well. They just really pretty much since the Dennis Allen era has begun in New Orleans. I mean, the Saints pretty much shut out whoever it is on the ground, unless you run into a Saquon Barkley or a Christian McCaffrey, one of these top running backs that nobody can do anything with. But I think the Saints will be able to control Atlanta on the ground. That defense, like I said, held the Eagles to 15 points. I mean, you can't ask too much more of your defense. The Saints had opportunities in this game to be able to put the Eagles away, multiple opportunities. It kind of reminded me of the LSU USC game where it's like your defense give you every chance to win the game, but we were just not able to get anything going on offense today. And that was because of that pressure. Jalen Carter is a man out of Georgia, man. I think he was number 90, 98, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what his number was, but it was his show today. But, the Saints match up pretty well against the Falcons, but you know how that game is. It can go either way, but this is a must win for the Saints to take that lead in the division. The Saints can be 2-0 on the division if they take care of business next week against the Atlanta Falcons. But, excuse me, the Saints are going, I think this is this is an away game for the Saints. So that's going to be interesting by this being an away game. But this is a game that the Saints have to win next week against the Atlanta Falcons, man. So we're going to see how that goes. If you are just joining me, this is North of the Lake with your boy, Marshawn. This is episode 4. And I do have a code. And for anybody who just joined me, I want to go back and give some love to our high school guys who sent me film and our player of the week. I want to show them some love. But first, we got a sponsor. We got the Insurance Depot. They do personal insurance, business insurance, health insurance, and life insurance. You can reach them at 985-618-3222. That is 985-618-3222. And please ask for Mr. Kevin and Miss Reva Jackson. That's Mr. Kevin and Reva Jackson. They also do taxes. I have all my insurance through them: home insurance, car insurance, life insurance, and also taxes. Please give them a call for me. That's the Insurance Depot at 985-618-3222. That's 985-618-3222. Personal insurance, business insurance, health insurance, and life insurance. They also do taxes. Please go over there and give my people a holler. That's 985-618-3222. That's Mr. Kevin and Miss Reva Jackson at the Insurance Depot. We thank you for our sponsors. We thank you for our sponsor. But if you just joining me, I want to just give some more love to our Tangy guys right here. This is Hammer High versus East St. John. This is our boy Donut. He takes a screen pass to the house. He is gone. I mean, the guy had an angle on him over there, and he outran that angle. Let's check him out again. This is a wide receiver pass. He has the pass option here, but he said, you know what? I'm going to take off with this thing. So he gone. He made something out of nothing, and he gets all the way down into scoring territory. That's our boy Donut. Shout out to my Hammer High Tornadoes. Look damn good this week. Y'all keep balling. This is also Sumner right here, game of the week. That is Jeremiah Brooks out of Sumner. Shout out to him and the Sumner Cowboys on getting the big win this week. Our player of the week is Kenyatta Fleet. You can see him right here. High pointing that ball in between two defenders, getting the Tornadoes into scoring position. And this may be the play of the year so far. One-handed catch by Kenyatta Fleet in the end zone to give Hammer High the favor over East St. John, man. I'm going to end things there, y'all. Like I said, I am under the weather. Thank y'all for dealing with me. Thank y'all for dealing with these coughs and this raspy voice, man. But I'm going to give it to y'all every week, the best of my ability. I thank y'all for joining North of the Lake with your boy, Marshawn. This is episode 4. Tune in next week. Hopefully, I'm feeling a little better, and hopefully, hopefully, Who That Nation is feeling a lot better after that loss to the Eagles. We got to bounce back against those Falcons. Shout out to my Tornadoes. I came in here representing today. I can't wait for homecoming. Shout out to my class of 2011. Shout out to everybody that supports the platform, all the kids out there. Also, I have to shout out Pearl River High School. One of the guys reached out to Coach Fleet and said, you know what, man, you didn't have the Pearl River score at the bottom. We part of the North Shore too. And the guy said, we one of the best teams in the North Shore. So I got to give y'all flowers. Now, I don't know if y'all played this week, Pearl River. I tried to look your score up and I could not find it. So if y'all can send me your scores on Instagram, that's NOTL podcast on Instagram, I would get it up there. I just can't find it. Some of the scores are harder to find than others. I go to what is the name of that website? I can't think of the name. Match Preps. I go to Match Preps and get the scores, and there's also a Twitter page that tweets out all the Louisiana scores. And I haven't been able to find Pearl River, so I do want to apologize to you guys. I wish y'all the best on y'all season, and y'all welcome on the platform anytime. That's shout out to Pearl River and the season they have, and I know they have a nice running back out there. Coach Fleet wasn't able to join me today, but Coach Fleet was telling me about it. He was telling me that Pearl River playing some good football, so I wanted to shout you guys out. Also, shout out to the Fountain Blue. Shout out to Fountain Blue as well. Last year, they told me the same thing, man. Yeah, you won't have our scores at the bottom. Also, St. Thomas said the same. So I'm going to try to get y'all scores on here best I can. So, man, y'all keep being patient with me. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, y'all. I'm under the weather. But thank y'all for joining in for another episode. I gave y'all the best I could give y'all today. So y'all make sure y'all tune in next week. I'll be feeling better. Coach Fleet should be back next week, and we're going to give y'all a better product. But thank y'all for joining in North of the Lake with your boy, Marshawn. Thank